Hey, I hope all is going well and I hope you're having a beautiful, blessed day. I need to get real with you guys for a little bit. Today is a very hard day for me. Um, Not specifically just today, but today in my life history because today was the last day that I was able to hold my grandma's hand and she died on February 21st, 2006. And my grandma was truly a huge part of my heart. She was the person who taught me who Jesus was. Not to say that my family didn't, but I learned from her the most. And she was the person who knew that her church, which is now my home church and has been since I was 4 years old, would be a fantastic place for me to learn about Jesus because at the time, and I believe that we still do have an awesome children's program and an awesome teen youth group. And having those experiences because my grandmother really taught me, like I said, a lot about who Jesus was and the fact that I was created the way I was created. And I have this picture that I'll put up later, but there's this picture that you guys have probably seen on my birthday or maybe the anniversary of tomorrow or the anniversary of today, where it's the week that I was born or sometime, well, I can't say that for sure, but it's sometime that I was in the hospital as a brand new baby. And my grandma's just looking at me and I could tell that we are having a conversation, and I imagine that conversation being, "Lady, if you pray for me to get out of here, I will be at your house every single weekend." And sure enough, that is what happened. From the day they let me out of the hospital, the first place we went was the day that they let me out of the hospital was Forest Lawn in Glendale because my dad took me to meet my grandpa, his dad, who had died a year before I was born. And so the first place we went was Forest Lawn, Glendale, but the next place we went was Granny's house. And it was so true that I spent almost every single weekend, whether my mom and dad had something to do or not, because I was a very, very lucky kid. And my brother was a very lucky kid who didn't have to default to having a stranger or a neighbor take care of us. We had grandma and grandpa to lean on, and our granny to lean on. And my granny was one of the most adventurous women you'd ever meet. She would go to church all done up, and then all of a sudden she would say, "I'm going home and packing a bag and going to my sister's for the weekend." And it usually meant she was going to, at that time, Burbank, because my Aunt Irene lived in Burbank. And so it would be that she was going there, or if she wanted to get more adventurous, she would say, "I'm going home and packing a bag for the week and flying to Utah." And furthermore, you guys, if you knew my grandma or had the chance to hear stories about my grandma, you would hear that she gathered all of her grandchildren, not once, but twice, and took us all to Utah. Once in 1987, the summer of 1987, so just after my little brother was born. And then, again in 1988, because I remember the first trip after my brother was born that summer. And then we rode on the train for 17 hours, again, as her with the only adult on the train with us, for 17 hours. It takes longer to get to Utah on the train than it does to drive. It takes 14 to drive, 17 on the train. So, in any case, her as the only adult on both of those trips. I don't know about you, but I would never be able to handle that many kids by myself and stay sane. My grandma was truly, truly an adventurous woman. Like I said, she would go on trips. She would book cruises. She led groups in church. I remember one of the groups that she led that actually brought me into the church was the church, meaning ERBC, was Pioneer Girls. And Pioneer Girls was kind of, it was a version of Girl Scouts. And so I was part of that for a while, and my grandma was one of the leaders. And to this day, I'm still very close to one of her friends, Miss Jeanette Jones, who is now in her 90s. And they were leaders together, and it was just awesome to see how loved my grandma was. And my church, everybody in my church still talks about, at least in my life group, they still talk about how awesome my granny was. Especially our life group leader, Hortensia, who was another one of the leaders with my granny. So I will miss my granny forever, and I hope that she is watching me and that she knows that I am still following Jesus and I am living this life to the fullest, and on occasion worrying the heck out of my dad, and because I know that is happening, even though he will not fess up to it. Or maybe he does and I just don't listen. But in any case, Granny, I hope you're proud of me. I hope you know that I love you. I'll love you forever. And I just hope that you guys take time to create relationships with your grandparents, if you still have them, or any of your loved ones that you may have, while there's still time, because there's going to be a time that you look back and it's going to be like, remember when this happened, instead of, wow, I can't believe this is happening. I'll talk to you guys later. I love you, and I will see you soon. Bye.